Hey friends, this is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new documentary Out of Shadows that I know many of you have heard about and have maybe seen because it's been going fairly viral. Before we do that though, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com. This is a website I've helped run since 2012. You can follow us on all of our social media channels. If you want to support us, do so at patreon.com/DerrickBroze. And get involved with what we're doing because we're really trying to expand our work and keep doing new types of reports, bringing you hard-hitting interviews as well as my investigations. So stay tuned for all that and continue supporting. So the documentary again is called Out of Shadows, and it came out April 13th. Actually, no, this is a reposting of it. The original one, which is not the one I have open, I think has like 6 or 7 million views. I just found this one a moment ago, which also has 700,000 views. So as you can imagine, the documentary is getting out there, probably close to 10 million views at this point with its original posting plus reshares and reposting elsewhere. The documentary basically follows two different men who were involved in being stuntmen in Hollywood and had some experience in that world, and it goes through following their journeys, their histories, and what they are all about. And honestly, I think it's a pretty good documentary in the sense that it hooks you in. You get to, it was very clear what they were doing. Like, okay, let's get to know this guy. Let's hear about his personal journey. He's a Hollywood stuntman. He has an injury. He meets a woman who challenges him on the issue of God, and he it seems to turn into a Christian, I guess. He comes back to God, and through that starts questioning the world. So it very much does seem to have kind of a Christian angle on it. I mean, not that that's a bad thing one way or the other, but that's just where it's at. And yeah, they do a good job of hooking you in, getting you to connect with the character and the people who are behind it. One thing that I was not so impressed with is that the documentary, while it did bring together a lot of good archival footage of different topics and issues, there wasn't much original graphics or original shooting involved other than the interviews that were on screen. Much of it was just taken from, say, other YouTube channels, for example, and then recast as part of the documentary. And I didn't see, maybe in the credits somewhere, they give credit to all the YouTube channels that they took stuff from, but I recognized a few people's voices and I recognized a few channels, and so they didn't really do much in the way of original content on that regard. It was archival footage plus videos of other people's work. So hopefully they do give credit. Ultimately, the documentary, they rely on the testimony of former intelligence agent Kevin Shipp and former journalist, I guess current independent journalist Liz Crokin, who many of you I know support and I do not support. And it sort of used them as the main focal point. So as far as your references, you got the two guys who come from Hollywood and then them telling their story of researching, etc. And they bring together a lot of interesting things. I will say none of this information is new. There wasn't anything groundbreaking, hard-hitting that has never before been said by anybody else. They talked about Michael Aquino and Satanism and Psy War and all the psyops and mind war and all these different things that researchers such as myself and others have touched on before. But what a good documentary does is it brings it together in a way and tells a story. And they did a good job of that overall. I don't think it's going to be waking up anybody who wasn't already awake. I mean, perhaps. I mean, the thing's reaching a lot of people. But for the most part, I don't think that they cited enough sources or provided enough evidence for some of the claims that they made to really convince a normie audience, right? Like those of us who already know what's going on, we are going to hear this and know that, yeah, okay, yep, I've seen that. Yep, I've seen that. Whoa, I didn't know about that, but that rings true with me. And those sort of things. But yeah, I hope that it reaches more people. Hope that it wakes up more people. My I guess criticisms of it again are that it didn't use enough original footage or credit the people, and it relied pretty heavily on Kevin Shipp, which people have questions about his credibility, and Liz Crokin, who I didn't know much about her past, but I've seen her on YouTube and I've seen you guys reference her before. People have sent me some of her reports and it's not that anything inspiring to me. This one is a clip from her YouTube channel that someone put together. It's from Right Wing Watch, which I don't really follow them much, but it was an easy clip right here, and it says Liz Crokin says the coronavirus is cover for the military to make mass arrests, and this isn't just them selectively editing her and splicing up her words. You can go to her YouTube channel. You can see her videos. She follows Q. So that's the main source. Although Out of Shadows doesn't get into the whole Q thing, they obviously believe that, and they chose for one reason or another not to get into that. And in fact, Q, whoever Q really is at this point, whichever people are playing the role, did a Q drop and posted about, best documentary of the year. And that's in part of the reason why this is going viral. I don't think everyone realizes that the Q crowd is really pushing this right now. Liz Crokin is part of their community, and it reinforces a lot of what they believe in. Now, the documentary does a good job of getting into the pedophilia. I think they touched on Epstein. They talked about Nexium. Of course, they get into Pizzagate. I will say I just watched Jason Bermas's review of this, and I'm glad Jason reviewed it too. And Jason went through some emails in the Podesta files and really made a case for how they really didn't pick the most hard-hitting evidence that they could to, convince people. Like they didn't show the emails where there's literally talk of children and they list their ages being in a hot tub for Podesta, and where they talk about sacrificing a chicken to Moloch and all these kinds of different things. Instead, they focused on the keywords or the potential passwords, hidden words of pizza and other things like that. But yeah, I'm glad they talked about Pizzagate, because Pizzagate hasn't been debunked. While James Alefantis is a weird, crazy guy and probably up to some stuff, and he runs in that circles, it's not just about pizza itself. It's about the things that are pretty out in the open and the people that these folks associate with. So it's important to understand that I think they could have gone deeper with Pizzagate. They did, again, use some good clips. And because they have Liz Crokin as one of the main interviews, and they do a great job of kind of filling out her background. I mean, she worked for the Chicago Tribune, then I guess she got into celebrity journalism or whatever. But they kind of build her up like their main source, and she was respected in the mainstream, and then she started talking about Pizzagate, and they follow her journey. They don't mention that she follows the QAnon stuff, or that she's a supporter of Donald Trump and thinks he's a hero and all this kind of thing. In fact, they don't even get into Donald Trump. They don't celebrate him, and they don't make the obvious connections they could to show how Trump is a part of the same system that Out of Shadows is trying to expose. Trump is associated with Hillary and Bill Clinton. Trump is associated with Jeffrey Epstein and plenty of this same circle. Trump runs in the same New York circles, including Giuliani and others who were involved in the 9/11 cover-up. And his policies as president also show where his allegiances lie and who he is. So he's clearly a part of this same system, yet rather than making it clear that they think Trump is a good guy and that he's fighting back and this and that, they tried to keep it as, you could say, nonpartisan or middle of the road center as possible. But I think it was more deceptive sleight of hand, because again, this thing was posted by Q, whoever that is, which is what made it start to reach out and go viral. It's well put together, but I don't, the information, again, it's not groundbreaking. The main interviewer is somebody who believes fairy tales, and it's still doing incredibly well. Like I said, I think on their main channel, 7 million. On other channels, almost up to 1 million on this one. And I'm sure it will continue to get more views. Now, is that a good thing in the bigger picture, that potentially more people are going to be awakened to these sort of things? Maybe some people see this. I mean, I always celebrate when documentaries go viral. I remember in the beginning of YouTube, Alex Jones's documentary, The Obama Deception, and Jason Bermas's Invisible Empire and Loose Change, and other, Zeitgeist, other conspiracy documentaries were going viral and reaching lots of people. And I was one of those people. So it couldn't be a good thing. But if they go follow Liz Crokin and start getting into QAnon or thinking Trump's a good guy, or if they only have some of the truth but not the full truth, and they take that documentary on its word, and the documentary, again, is pretty dry and light on sources, well, then that could end up with somebody who's actually not awake but more confused. They're maybe only partially awake but then misdirected to another rabbit hole, another piece of the deception. And that's what I really worry about. But overall, it was a good film. For those who really want to dive into more on Pizzagate and that sort of thing, I do recommend searching Pizzagate on our website to find some of my reports. Go to our documentaries here to see our documentary on Jeffrey Epstein, as well as The Finders, all backed by facts, which get it deeper into that. And yeah, they did touch on some really important parts of the pop culture and, different references to the occult and to Satanists and things of that sort. It's was very intriguing on some of that, and definitely, like I said, it reminded me of different things that I hadn't looked up in a while. But overall, I'm worried that by using Liz Crokin as one of the main sources, it could lead people astray. And people need to understand that that actually hurts the movie by having somebody like that in there rather than somebody more credible who knows what's going on and who can reach more people because they don't follow QAnon. And that's it, guys. That's just been my review. Just wanted to do that. I've got a lot more other videos coming up that are a bit more important than this, but I wanted to share my thoughts on it because I know you guys have been seeing it go around, and it's making the rounds right now. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.